Back with Yoko, John didn't make music for a few years. He looked after their son, Sean. He returned to the recording studio in the summer of 1980 to make Double Fantasy with Yoko. Much of the album was about family life. One of the songs from the album, just like Starting Over, was doing well when John was killed. Friends again. The Beatles ended badly, and some of the band were angry for a long time. On 1971's Imagine, John's song How Do You Sleep was an attack on Paul. George Harrison was angry too. He played guitar on the song. But finally, Paul and John became friendlier again. Paul visited John a few times in New York after Sean Lennon's birth. In 1994, years after John's death, both men were given an important music award. On stage, Paul read out a letter to John. In it, he remembered their past together. He ended, "This letter comes with love from your friend Paul." At the top again. The Beatles ruled the music world in the 1960s. They had 22 singles in Britain and 18 reached number 1. Every album of new songs got to number 1. In the United States, there were 19 number 1 singles. Many people still think that they were the world's greatest band of all time. In one list of best albums, the top 5 were all by the Beatles. But the band's success wasn't just for their musical past. In 1995, the 3 living Beatles came together to record 2 new Beatles songs, Free as a Bird and Real Love. Both songs were by John. The singer recorded them, but they weren't finished. Paul, George and Ringo worked with these recordings, adding to them. In their minds, they were finishing the music for John while he worked on something else. Fans could buy new Beatles records again. They also loved the video for Free as a Bird. It showed people and places from the band's past. Stu Sutcliffe, Brian Epstein, the Cavern, the street outside the Abbey Road studios. There were hundreds of memories of Beatles songs. A few are A Cake with the number 64, When I'm 64, A Man Writing a Book, Paperback Writer, A Photo of Mao Zedong, a line from Revolution, A Stone with the name Eleanor Rigby. Eleanor Rigby. At the same time, the living Beatles told their story in the television programme The Beatles Anthology. More than 20 million copies of the anthology albums were sold. In 2000, there was a very successful album of the Beatles' number 1 songs. They made more money from the album than any other British artist that year. The Beatles were back in the right place, at the top.